Officer Norman J. Vesnoska, and Navy Reserve Center Akron Commanding Officer Lieutenant Commander Jonathan Westerman, I welcome you to the retirement ceremony of Ricky G. Wiley. We request that you please silence your cell phones at this time for the duration of the ceremony. Military guests, please remove your covers for the duration of the ceremony. We are gathered here this afternoon to witness the final stage of a very full and productive 35-year military career. We are also here to say thanks to shipmate. Thanks for his many contributions, dedicated hours, and personal initiative that have helped make our Navy the proud and professional organization that it is today. I extend an especially warm welcome to Commander Wiley's wife, Lori. I know that you, more than any of us, are vividly aware of his sacrifices as your husband has made in the service of our country. I speak for the entire command when we say how pleased we are to have you here today. We'll now get into a little Navy lore. Tending to the side boys is a Navy-rich tradition practice that originated back in the days of sailing ships. It was customary in those times to periodically hold conferences on the flagships, whether at sea or in port. Additionally, officers were invited to dine aboard other ships while at sea. On occasion, it was necessary to hoist visitors aboard in a bosun chair. A certain number of able-bodied sailors were always in attendance at the rail to assist in the arrival and departure of the distinguished guest. In fact, the side boys were known to remark that the higher the rank, the heavier the individual to be hoisted aboard. The bosun pipe was used by the bosun to signal certain actions, such as hoist away and avast heaving, since noises in the sea and wind could drown out spoken word. Each call had a distinctive series of notes. The call is used to render honors is called piping the side. The United States Navy has traditionally extended the honor to include retirement ceremonies to render honors to those military personnel who have served their country with patriotic distinction, such as the man we are here to honor today. The number of side boys posted and the number of bells rung indicate the military rank of the members of the official party. Today we'll be sounding 4 bells, respectively, in honor of our official party. Bosuns, stand by to pipe the side. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the arrival of the official party, the parading of our colors, the singing of the national anthem, and our invocation. Time orderly, sound 4 bells. United States Forces Japan, arriving. Time orderly, sound 4 bells. Captain, United States Navy retired, arriving. Time orderly, sound 4 bells. Commander, United States Navy, arriving. Parade the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Timothy Bancroft will now sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Post the colors.
Detail.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pastor John Whitman will now provide the invocation. Military members at ease.
Rick told me that I was only allowed 1 minute.
Don't go over it.
And we ministers don't get to preach on a Sunday. We have to make up for it somewhere. So, no, just kidding. Let's bow our heads. Almighty God, we come before you with grateful hearts as we lift our prayer to you on this momentous and meaningful occasion. We thank you for the life, the dedication, and the service of our dear friend Rick Wiley. We also thank you for all the sacrifices that he and his wife and his son accepted throughout their military career as Rick served faithfully, loyally, and with great vitality. We ask your blessings, merciful Lord, upon the cherished family as they start anew. Direct them as they move into a different stage in their lives. Comfort them in the struggle that often comes when we leave what we know to go into something we do not. Bless them with new adventures as they share the joys of this new life and make their memories fond and sweet of all they accomplished and of all the people they knew. May it all be in your Son's name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Side boys, post.
Side boys. Right now. Face. Forward. March.
Commander Wiley will now introduce his guest speakers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. My guest speaker, Chief Mike Wenzel. Mike and I met back in 1996 when I was new to the Navy Reserves, which we'll discuss here. But what an honor and privilege for me to introduce a great friend of mine, a very successful business owner, and now a retired from the civilian market and the Navy, of course. Michael, welcome.
We couldn't start with the cake? Do we really have to wait?
You already eyeballed it. I saw you.
Buddy, I've already taken pictures of it, just to make sure. All righty. First off, I'd like to thank everybody for coming to celebrate the retirement of my good friend, Commander Rick Wiley. In particular, I'd like to recognize his wife, Lori, and his mother, Beverly. If y'all can just raise your hand in case anybody doesn't know you.
All right, that's good. Thanks for everything that you folks have put up with over the years. And okay, it is my honor and privilege to come before you today to say a few words about Rick. We are here to celebrate the retirement from the United States Navy after 35 years of dedicated and honorable service. Please remember, Rick, you promised to pay me $50 to get up here and say a couple nice things about you.
It's in my wallet, Mike.
I need it in my wallet, okay? just saying. But seriously, everyone, please take a minute and think about it. 35 years of service. I think most of us are over that here, but there might be a couple people here that maybe that's their entire life. I see some young ones out there. 35 years of service. That's a long time. It would almost be impossible to count all the holidays and family functions that he has missed over the years because he was standing the watch, serving his country, our country. Commander Wiley and I served in the Naval Reserves together at the Naval and Marine Corps Reserve Center in Moundsville, West Virginia. We were part of the enlisted community. Before advancing to Chief Petty Officers, Rick was the LPO of his unit, Personnel Support Detachment, and I was the LPO of my unit, Naval Activities United Kingdom. While Rick and I were good friends and worked well together, our bond and friendship magnified when we became chief selectees in the summer of 2000. That period of time as selectees was an awesome experience, wasn't it, Rick? Man.
Is that what you just called it?
Yeah.
It's quite unique.
The excitement and pride of being selected to become chiefs in the United States Navy, coupled with the thoughts of the additional leadership roles that we'd be tasked with, can be a little intimidating at first, but we were up for the challenge. Our first drill weekend as selectees was also the first drill weekend of the Reserve Center's new officer in charge, Personnelman Senior Chief Steve Quinn. We quickly learned that Senior Chief Quinn is one of those hard-charging physical training gurus, firmly believing that good chiefs lead from the front. Therefore, we spent a tremendous amount of time doing physical training. Although, as you can see, I kind of got away from it after retirement. Steve introduced us to calisthenics that Rick and I had never even heard of before. Rick, do you remember the push-ups that we started out with our butts up in the air, swoop down, and then when we were done, our heads were up in the air?
I remember, Mike.
Yes. Oh, baby.
My back remembers.
Yeah. Those were hard. That's all there is to it. Steve had a name for them, but I pretty much has done my best to try to forget about them altogether. He ran us, as well as the other chiefs at the Reserve Center, in formation as we sang cadence. We were required to make a pennant to carry as we ran in formation. Thank you, Lori, for making those for us, or that for us. Needless to say, Rick and I had a wonderful time. But honestly, it was fun building that camaraderie with the rest of the CPO community at the Reserve Center. In addition to the physical training, we had homework assignments to complete for the following drill weekend. Oh yes, and then there was the charge book. We must never forget the charge book. For all you chiefs, senior chiefs, and master chiefs out there, you remember quite well that you never lose your charge book. But we'll talk about that in a minute. For those of you who are not familiar with this process of trying to advance to the rank of Chief Petty Officer, here's how it goes. There are 3 steps. You are tested, selected, and initiated, if you're fortunate enough to make chief. Tested. Once you have enough time in rank and have completed all of your other requirements, you may take the Chief's Advancement Exam for your rating. For you civilians, your rating is pretty much your primary job that you do in the Navy. Selected. If you score high enough on the exam and your evaluations indicate that you have what it takes to become a chief, then you may be selected to be considered for advancement. If so, all your personnel records are sent to a review board consisting of chiefs, senior chiefs, and master chiefs. They will go through your records with a fine-tooth comb. They will determine who will be advanced and who will not make it this time around. If you are fortunate enough to be selected, you start the process to become a chief. This period of time is called the rite of passage. This will last approximately 3 months, and now the fun begins, doesn't it, Rick? So that brings us to the charge book that I mentioned earlier. It's nothing more than a journal that you must have on your possession at all times while you're a chief selectee. If a current chief feels that you have done something wrong, he or she writes that charge in your charge book. For example, if Rick was walking down the passageway and somebody yelled out, "Hey, Chief Wiley," and he turns around and responds, that's a chargeable offense because you're not a chief yet. You're a selectee. There is a difference. Another example would be just that if somebody were to say or do something that might cause you to respond in a way that they would determine as a chargeable offense, bring out the charge book. That's another charge you're going to have to answer to later on in the process. So, initiated. Then comes initiation day, a day filled with lots of fun, some fear, and yes, a boatload. I'm talking aircraft carrier size of those calisthenics we talked about earlier. During the initiation day, you would also have to answer for the charges written down in your charge book. Those were the fun times. Now, on a serious side, the rite of passage was one of the most rewarding and yet scary times of our lives. It is designed to humble you so you don't forget where you came from. It's also designed to prepare you for the additional leadership role you're going to have, the additional duties that you will be taking on. At the end of initiation day, and you get a chance to clean up a little bit, you do get a little dirty, you move into the pinning ceremony. That feeling of pride, accomplishment, and honor when your wife or family member pins those anchors on your lapel, and from somewhere above, somebody places that chief's cover on your head. Oh my goodness, there's no words. Becoming a chief petty officer in the Navy is such an honor. Every promotion is a time of pride and celebration, but advancement to chief opens a totally different world. A world with many additional responsibilities and a new level of respect from the officer community, your peers, and your subordinates. Rick and I leaned on each other a great deal during that period of time. Actually, I think I leaned on Rick a lot more than he did on me. But as everyone in this room knows, this is a huge part of military life, being there and supporting your brothers and sisters in arms. Just a quick and funny memory of a time that Rick and I went to naval leader training in Little Creek, Virginia. You know where I'm going with this, Rick?
I know where you're going with that.
We both wanted to have our own cars down there, so we both drove. However, we met up and caravanned down to Little Creek. Both had cell phones, but that was back when you didn't have unlimited talk. Knowing that we wanted to talk a good bit down there, or on our way down, so Rick, being the great leader and thinker that he is, he went out and bought walkie-talkies for us to have in our cars so we could talk to each other all the way down to Virginia. Needless to say, we had a good time with Breaker 19 and all that stuff. Rick, my man, I am truly in awe of you, all that you have accomplished during your career. Of course, having Lori by your side has been a huge blessing. Having the support of a loving and understanding wife and family, I know makes life's journey much easier. Thank you, baby. I've spoken a lot today about the journey to become chiefs, and yet you had goals that were much loftier than mine, Rick. You chose to soar even higher, and soar you did. Now here we are today, celebrating the retirement, your retirement as a full commander. Congratulations, my friend. Rick, words can't express how proud I am of you and thankful for all the dedicated years of service you have given our great nation. I want to thank you for your friendship and for all the help you have given me during my career in the Navy, as well as the ears to listen when I needed a friend to talk to over my years of being a business owner. I could not have asked for a better shipmate to have taken that journey with. The bond and friendship we have as a result will last a lifetime. In retirement and in life, I wish you fair winds and following seas. Thank you for everything and enjoy your retirement, my friend. But now I do just have one question for you. Where's my $50 and how about that cake?
Well, I'm glad Chief Wenzel left out a lot of the details about becoming Chief Petty Officer. And those of you sitting here that wear that anchor, you know what they are. It certainly tests you, that's for sure. But you know it's all about teamwork, right? You support one another, and we understood what it's like to be torn down to nothing for 3 months. And all the meanest little tasks you can imagine, put in this little logbook, and it just doesn't stop, but you're tested. And thanks to Chief Wenzel, we persevered, teamed up, and we accomplished the mission. So thank you, Mike. Now it's my honor and privilege to introduce a great friend of mine. We had met back in 2010, and he, quite frankly, being a professional engineer that he is, and me being a business marketing guy, he helped me to understand engineering language, how do engineers talk. We had 190 in our command, 190, think about that for a moment. I'm talking about nuclear engineers as well. Captain O'Fallon was a regional commanding officer at that time. I was at the headquarters as the national administrator, and we had, 2,000 employees, 68 commands across the United States, and we formed a bond from that day, and it has never broken since then. So it's my honor and privilege to introduce Captain Gene O'Fallon.
All right, shipmates, got bits and stuff I definitely want to cover, but first of all, let me welcome all the guests. Special acknowledgments to Miss Beverly Wiley, Lori Wiley. Everybody likes Lori. Everybody likes Lori. And I don't think your son, his wife Helena, and grandchild Oakland Marie could be here, but I don't know if they're able to see remotely online or later, but I want to welcome them as well. It's okay if I start with the training opportunity?
Yes, sir.
All right, so way back as a JO, real quick, I'm going to digress here for a second. Had a CPO, a senior chief, HT, hull technician, and he taught me something that I'll never forget. I've used it my whole life, not just in the Navy. But he said to me one time, he said, "Sir, I was a JG, Lieutenant JG." He said, "Sir," he said, "everything is a training opportunity." He said, "You have the opportunity to impart some knowledge to a shipmate or someone else that helps them, but also it keeps you humble and your aperture open so that someone can share something with you that advances you as well." So everything's a training opportunity. I've just loved that phrase. It stuck with me my whole life. And anyway, so Speaking of that, just a quick training opportunity too. So the first thing you do when you get some cliff notes to come to one of these things is you blow up your font size to something you can actually read even with your freaking glasses. Okay, so that's for the training opportunity. And but Rick, for me, it's the greatest compliment I think of anybody to be asked to come and speak. On behalf of someone's retirement is really a great compliment. So I really do appreciate it. Just a couple other quick things. How many Surge Mainers here? Surge Main folks from Surge Mates program. You'll hear about it. Just a couple people. Okay, appreciate you, shipmates. Hoorah! And I also think that it'd be fitting if we took the focus off Rick just for a second, and I wanted to ask all of those of you, past or present, who were forward deployed, doesn't matter where it was or what you were doing in the Navy, as you reservists too, that you would just rise for a minute. Can you rise, please? All those that have done overseas contingency operations of any kind. So I wanted everybody here to appreciate that for just a minute for a very simple reason. I don't think people who watch TV and stuff and see somebody in uniform out there realize that about half of those out there, they're either reservists or National Guard folks of one type or other that you'll see on the television. But they go out there and they make the same sacrifices all the active duty guys do. So I really want to salute all of you, all you shipmates and others who have served forward, deployed, and overseas. That's really quite remarkable. Pretty good group too, so thank you for that. Wow, 35 years. Now I thought about that. It's like, how do you boil that down? And the fact is, it's impossible to really recover it adequately. But I'm gonna try to touch on a number of things in my experience with Rick and give you a little bit of his background too. So in 2002, Rick is a newly commissioned ensign, and he was selected to serve as an officer in charge of a reserve unit, normally filled by a senior lieutenant commander. Now, for a NASCO, is a NASCO here? All right, so as a NASCO that it's all about readiness, right? So you're not just going to pick anybody to stand in to lead a unit. You want somebody you know is going to perform, make sure everybody's all medical requirements, all their administrative requirements are up to snuff. So Rick was chosen for that job as a very junior officer, for something that's usually reserved for someone that's had a lot more experience, at least at that level. And because of his background as an enlisted and then as a chief petty officer, he absolutely crushed it and did a great job. So the CO, I no doubt, was very pleased with what you did. Otherwise, you'd still be an ensign, right? So, anyways, no, good job there. And then from 2004, Rick, usually the officers have 2 to 3 year tours depending on what you're doing. But he had these following assignments: the USS Stephen Groves. What kind of ship was that?
FFG.
FFG. Okay. And then U.S. Fleet Forces Command, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Crane. That's where they make all the weapons and bombs. NAVSEA Detachment 139, Expeditionary Combat Readiness Center in Norfolk, Virginia. NAVSEA Detachment 139. He had a bunch of different jobs: training officer, admin officer, operations officer, executive officer, assistant officer in charge, which basically made him really well-rounded to take on anything that would be coming after that point. As Rick mentioned, in 2010, our paths crossed. This was at a big turning point for the Surge Main program. We were really getting ready for a major expansion. And we did. We had almost 2,000 sailors spread out in these 68 units that he mentioned all over the country. And they were focused solely on providing skilled labor to the 4 public shipyards. Got one in Virginia, one in Maine, of course Hawaii, and then Washington. And as he mentioned, I was a regional CO at the time, working out of the central south part of the country. And but what the then national director, so they had one officer who did not have any assistants at all, one 06 captain to take care of all these 68 units and everything. You can imagine what that was like. No admin support. Keep in mind, we're all engineers, right? All these engineers, what do we know about admin, right? And Rick's name surfaced as a top tier administrator, and he got to meet the then national director, Captain Ray O'Toole, and he met him out on a tour boat sailing on the Elizabeth River in Norfolk. And after their meeting, Rick was asked to join Surge Main and become the right-hand officer to the director. And later on, if you get a minute, you'll have to ask him about a funny experience we had in there where the term negative ghostwriter came up. He can tell you about that. I'm not going to go into that detail right now. But anyway, within a few months, he was named the XO and the headquarters unit as well. And by the way, that billet, since I was the national director, is now held by a senior captain. And so it was a credible amount of responsibility for someone as junior as he was, especially a lieutenant. And I can testify to the overwhelming responsibilities I said as national director. And at that time, I had 606s reporting to me, and we had this. I think we grew the program to 75 units nationwide. So it was just a huge. No such thing as a reserve. If anybody that thinks a reserve job or even a National Guard is just pay 1 week in a month, weekend warrior, and a couple weeks a year, boy, I can tell you for a fact it's another full-time job and then some, and without a doubt, when you really get deep into this stuff. So, but that's when our friendship and our relationship really got going, was at this point in 2010. And as Rick mentioned, I had many conversations with him to help him understand engineers. And he didn't get it. He was always like, why are they trying to get so far in the weeds? Why are they trying to put a square peg in a round hole? And being a professional engineer myself, and I've had to deal with a lot of my own peers in this kind of stuff, I said, well, let me explain how they think. Basically, to understand engineers, you only need to know that the group of engineers that was tasked to design a horse is the reason we have camels today. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about engineers, and I am one. But Rick was relentless in his pursuit of excellence for this program, and we worked closely together, and he's promoted to lieutenant commander along the way. And after that, he was selected as a CO for the largest OSU in the Navy Reserve. That's the Operational Support Unit, and which he's got was kind of a, I hate to use the word dumping grounds, but everybody who didn't really have a home in the Navy Reserve, they went to the OSU. So he's managing all these different assignments and billets and qualifications. So as an NACO, you know how big, what a pain in the neck that is, right? Ton of work there. So he did a great job. And you might ask yourself, well, why the heck would he do that? He just came off this really hard assignment with Surge Mate, right? As an XO and so forth. And, well, honestly, it's not the hard work, it's the privilege of command. It's the privilege of command. And command is a privilege. It's a good leader, can have a tremendous impact, on a unit of sailors. And it's just a great opportunity to do that. So I've had that privilege. It's there's nothing like it in the world. So happy to have been able to do that, and Rick feels it the exact same way. Following that, he went on to get his credentials. He's a professional in human resources, and he was hand-selected to mobilize to the Expeditionary Combat Readiness Center in Norfolk, Virginia. And I remember us having some talks about that as you were getting ready to go, and you were concerned about what the workload was going to look like. As he said, there was an HR director for basically 180 plus shipmates. They're going in all different directions. And everybody that's within 90 days of deployment, whether they're going to CENTCOM or AFRICOM, has got to have their basic combat skills refreshed. So they're going to go through ECRC in Norfolk, and they're probably most likely, it's like 95% of them are going to go on to Fort Jackson, where we were, and then on to whatever their station's going to be. So terrific job there, and I know he was much appreciated by the skipper there. In my final tour, spent the last 5 years on active duty. I was the OIC there at Fort Jackson in Columbia, South Carolina. And as I mentioned, we oversaw the training of all these sailors, whether they were active duty or reserve. Everybody in the Navy mostly came through that location, make sure they were squared away and ready to go. And we had a great graduation rate. It was like 98+%. Everybody that came into ECRC graduated. And you got to know how to shoot, right? You might have bad guys shooting at you. You have to know how to shoot back. And so I realized shortly after getting here that I was going to be losing my assistant officer in charge. And I reached out to Rick to see if he'd be interested, even though he was coming off 3 years in Norfolk. And he graciously accepted. And I had one requirement, though, that when you came. I did this myself, and I actually went and was a student. I just went and took this, didn't tell anybody I was coming on as the new OIC, I just went as a student. So I asked Rick to do the same thing, because what better way to learn what you're going to put your students through than do it yourself, right? And Rick had a great hoorah attitude about it, and some of the funniest things happened out on the range. So I'll share with you one of those real quick. And so Rick, he had trouble seeing the targets that were downrange. I mean, he couldn't see them, right? Which is part of your qualifications. You have to get so many rounds, you know. So I'm actually standing behind him as he's laying in prone position, you know, firing, and watching him downrange. And for whatever reason, he would shoot every target twice, the ones that were close. And then he'd run out of ammo, and the weapon would stop, and he'd look up at the drill sergeant that was beside him, because the Army did all the heavy lifting on the training. And he said, "So what's wrong?" He said, "Sir, you're out of ammo." "How come I'm out of ammo?" You know? He would say, "Why am I out of ammo?" He said, "Well, you've hit all those targets multiple times to make sure, you know." So I asked him about that later. Anyway, it's really something. He said, "Well, sir, I just wanted to make sure the enemy was dead." That's a great answer. Anyway, the Army absolutely dubbed him something I thought was totally funny. They called him Double Tap. Double Tap. So anyways, look out. Like I said, everything's a training opportunity, right? While at Fort Jackson, I got to know the Wileys really well, had dinners with them on a weekly basis. And Lori, again, everybody loves Lori, and I really appreciate that time of friendship and fellowship there. Not bad. She's an excellent cook, too, so I was a bachelor, so I'm not going to complain about that. So let me say Rick's achievements are many, and he did all of that while being a full-time real estate professional. I tell you, as a civilian, it's hard to appreciate unless you've done this job, just how taxing this can be over decades. And he's a full-time real estate professional, a husband, a father, and then the life of a reserve officer, which is, you know, quote unquote part-time. It's really not when you get deep into it. Also for the chiefs as well. And so, anyway, my hat's off to you. Congratulations to Lori. And I told you guys something on the front end of this. Again, this is a training opportunity for everybody else too here. So you don't need to be stressed out about these kind of things. Everybody's put so much energy and effort into making sure it's absolutely perfect, right? Well, if you get go along in your career, you're going to end up doing a lot of these kind of things. And so, like I already gave you the tip about blowing up the font size. But here's the thing: you don't have to worry about if somebody screws up or there's a mistake or anything, whether it's a retirement, whether it's a change of command, whether it's a promotion ceremony, whether it's a ceremony to, you know, honor and bury a service member. Even if you mess that up, guess what? They still get promoted, they still get retired, they still get buried. Yeah. So guess what? Doesn't matter what happens today, you're still going to get retired. It's all good, right? All right. So last thing I'll say, besides to thank you again for including me and thinking of me. It's a great honor, really, for a compliment to come out of retirement, come back for one of these kind of things. So many years ago, I was asked to do a retirement ceremony for one of my mentors when I came in the Navy. And this officer retired as an 06, but I wanted to tell you he had 41 years of service. 41 years of service. He was enlisted, and then a chief, and then an officer. And that is a rare breed, a rare, super rare breed, because he's got the complete spectrum on how it looks from both ends of the pipe, if you will, and all that great leadership. So I really appreciated him as a leader, and that's the main thing I appreciated about Rick, is just how well-rounded he was, always a go-to person, ready to discuss things, and just, again, super rare, and Rick is one of those. So it is me that I want to extend my thanks to you. So I hope you all can hear me, and I really appreciate everybody coming out to show up for Rick's retirement. So thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Very inspiring and kind words about Commander Wiley's career. We will now present gifts. Commander Wiley and Captain Beznaska, please come to the front of the stage on the floor. There we go. No one can complete a successful career in the Navy without the support of their family. I think that was rather apparent from the speeches we just heard. Mrs. Wiley, for your sacrifices, patience, and devoted support for your husband, we would like to say thank you and provide you with a certificate of appreciation. Commander Dolney, please escort Ms. Wiley to the stage. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greetings to Lori Mae Wiley. By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for your unselfish, patriotic, and devoted service during your husband's military career. Your unfailing support and understanding helped immeasurably to make possible his lasting contribution to the nation. To those who say a single mom cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your husband did. He made our Navy stronger and kept our nation safe. With his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks you, and I thank you. Given this 5th day of June, 2022, Norman Besnoska, Captain, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, U.S. Forces, Japan. At this time, I'd like to recognize Commander Wiley's mother, Beverly Wiley. Commander Dolney, please escort Mrs. Beverly Wiley to the stage. All right, Mom. Come on.
Hi, son.
Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy. To all who shall see these presents, greetings to Beverly Mae Wiley. By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for enduring the frequent and long separation from your son, Ricky, as he served his country. These months, indeed years, that he spent away from you constitute a clear and noble determination of his love for you and his family. You see, he left you in order to ensure that you inherited a safer world, a surer peace.
My baby.
To those who say a single mom cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your son did. He made our Navy stronger. He kept our nation safe. And with his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks you and your son for his enduring these separations. Given this 5th day of June, 2022, Norman Besnoska, Captain, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, U.S. Forces, Japan. At this time, I'd like to recognize Commander Wiley's son, Dean Wiley. Dean was not able to be in attendance today due to a family illness, but I will read the certificate of appreciation for him as he's watching on the live feed. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Navy to all who shall see these presents. Greetings to Dean Asher Wiley. By the authority vested in me, it is my pleasure to express the grateful appreciation of the United States Navy to you for enduring the frequent and long separation from your father, Ricky, as he served his country. These months, indeed years, that he spent away from you constitute a clear and noble demonstration of his love for you and his family. You see, he left you and able to ensure that you inherited a safer world, a surer peace. To To those who say a single man cannot make a difference, I say wrong. Your father did. He made our Navy stronger. He kept our nation safe. With his service to the Navy now complete, he will be able to spend more time with you in the future. The United States Navy thanks both you and your father for enduring these separations. Given this 5th day of June, 2022, Norman Besnoska, Captain, United States Navy, Commanding Officer, U.S. Forces, Japan. Captain Besnoska and Lieutenant Commander Carroll, front and center. Captain Besnoska and Lieutenant Commander Carroll will present the United States Forces Japan Torii Gate to Commander Wiley. Get a photo there. All right, this time we'd like U.S. Forces Japan to the officers to come forward for a wardroom photo. Come on up.
Don't be shy.
No covers in this photo, Commander Wiley?
Sure, put them on, please.
Yeah.
I'll make the decision. Alumni? Yeah.
Yeah, Brian.
Alumni.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It's easy to get people together for a photo this way. Think about
Can you
it.
get us all?
After the ceremony, not going to happen.
Might have to have some go up on stage, maybe. One more up on stage, please.
Jump me down in front.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Hey, Captain Besnoska will now present Commander Wiley with his his end of tour award signed by United States Forces Japan Deputy Commanding General. Military guests, attention to award. From United States Forces Japan to Commander Ricky G. Wiley. Commander Ricky G. Wiley, United States Navy, distinguished himself by outstanding meritorious service as Personal Staff Officer, Manpower, Personnel, and Support Director, Headquarters, United States Forces Japan, from November 2016 to June 2022. During this period, Commander Wiley consistently performed his demanding duties in an exemplary and highly professional manner. He greatly contributed to the command's readiness by validating and consolidating active duty and reserve component manning documents. During Operation Keen Sword 2017, he performed beyond expectations as the Personal Readiness Officer, completing required joint manning document resulting in a fair and equitable distribution across the directives. As the Assistant Operations Officer, he supported the Joint Operations Center Operations Field Training Exercise, skillfully monitoring message staff traffic and reporting real-time critical information to higher authority. He performed superbly as the detachment's ACRN's Manpower and Personnel Department head, overseeing the processing of 130 performance reports, award citations, and served as expert instructor to staff and effective naval writing techniques. The distinctive accomplishments of Commander Wiley culminated in a long and distinguished career in the service of this country and reflect great credit upon himself, the United States Navy, and the Department of Defense. Signed, General McClellan's United States Forces Japan. Please be seated. Captain Besnoska will now present Commander Wiley with his letters of appreciation for his faithful service during the past 35 years. Gentlemen, if you want to come stand in the front again. These letters of appreciation include the Presidential Certificates of Appreciation from President Joseph R. Biden and former President Donald J. Trump, along with all former living presidents from Commander Wiley's years of service. Gentlemen, you can stay right there. I'll also read the Certificate of Authenticity from the USS Constitution certifying the flag used in today's ceremony was flown in honor of Commander Wiley on the 24th day of May 2022 on the USS Constitution. To all who shall see these presents greetings. Know ye that reposing special trust and confidence in the patriotism of Ricky Glenn Wiley, Commander, United States Navy, I do hereby certify that this flag was flown aboard USS Constitution, Old Ironsides, the oldest ship in the United States Navy, America's ship of state, and the oldest commissioned warship afloat in the world, to commemorate your 35 years of honorable service on this 24th day of May in the year of our Lord 2022. Signed, Commanding Officer Billy J. Farrell, Commander, United States Navy, 77th in command of the USS Constitution. Gentlemen, you can take your seats.
Are you sure?
Momentarily. You're going to get up in a
Can you take a break? Can you take a breath?
According to some accounts of naval history and tradition, when a sailor retires and is departing the ship for the last time, it's considered bad luck for the sailor's shadow to touch the land before he does. Thus, the sailor's shipmates would construct a sturdy box, handcrafted from the finest materials, in which to display mementos of the sailor's accomplishment, thereby symbolically creating a shadow of the sailor. This box would safely contain the sailor's shadow until he is ashore. Ideally, this serves not only as a reminder of achievements and accomplishments, but also as a summation and culmination of a career. It also enables a stranger glancing at its contents to gain a substantial understanding of the sailor's past, service, and achievements. Commander Wiley will now be presented with his shadow box from retired Chief Britt Palmer. Within this shadow box will lie your most honored and cherished possessions, representing a lifetime of valiant and faithful service. Commander Wiley, front and center again. Glad we picked the hull technician for this one.
I'll speak for just a second about the origins of this shadow box here. Britt, a very good friend of mine, Britt and Christine Palmer, sitting right in front here. Well, Britt's an educator at the Career Center, Maplewood Career Center. Well, his carpentry students volunteered to make this beautiful shadow box here. Yes, there is hope for this generation. Britt, thank you for leading this opportunity, leading this exhibition here. Thank you so much. And thank my wife, we've knotted all this together inside. There's a lot of bobby pins or straight pins or something in there. Beautiful job, honey. Thank you. Can you carry it? You can stay right there. We're going to ask the NOSC Akron Chief Petty Officers Mess to come forward now for a photo with Commander Wiley. And all the chiefs in this room. Yeah, all the chiefs. Retired too? All the chiefs retired, absolutely. Retired too. Never retired.
Where Oakland's at. You don't have Oakland. You don't have Oakland.
Thank you all.
My son. I gotta go get my hog and kiss.
So before I
probably
introduce
can't now.
Commander
Can I?
Wiley, I think we all know he's a little long in the tooth and a little long-winded. So we're going to have a brief intermission before he begins. Just kidding, just kidding. I did want to say a few things about Commander Wiley myself, though. Someone this morning told me that when a brown shoe retires, there's supposed to be a couple jokes in there. And the crowd so far did not disappoint. But I had a couple myself too. So I don't know if Rick knows or remembers meeting me 10 years ago when I was a brand new lieutenant at NOSC Akron at the time. But I had just come straight from active duty and I was hard charging surface warfare officer and I was looking around and I was like, man, everybody's like, the military bearing's not as good, like what is the reserves all about? And I was sitting on some couches outside his office talking to some other junior officers, just, poking and joking. And then this cantankerous 04 comes bursting out of the office and says, keep it down out here, get to work. And I said, oh, now that's the Navy I know. And I knew exactly what to do. I waited for Rick to go to a meeting. I went to his office. I took all the plastic cutlery off his desk and threw it in the garbage can so he didn't have anything to eat with that day. But Rick's been, since then, we've got to know each other down in Norfolk and then back here at U.S. Forces Japan. And he's never been one to not give you an opportunity to develop, which, as I hear from some other speakers on the stage, where he may have learned that. So when he called me a week ago to ask me to emcee his ceremony, and he was giving me another opportunity to develop. And I think he sensed that I might have been a little hesitant. He said, John, have you ever done anything like this before? And I said, well, I have officiated 2 weddings for friends of mine. Is it like that? They said, no, it's nothing like that. I want to be done with the Navy. The union's over. So it's funny though. But Rick, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Commander Rick Wiley.
Thank you. Well, thank you, John, for those fine comments. I think I called him to be prepared a week ago, but only, I think, 3 days ago, John, you got the nod. And I want to touch on this, but he stepped up to the Master of Ceremonies just 3 days notice. And we'll talk about that in my speech, so thank you, John. I appreciate that. No, I don't remember that day 10 years ago. People that know me know me well, that I have to be focused. I have ADD, right? It's very short. Everybody knows I have short attention span. You got to say what you're going to say and say it quickly, and I can't have white noise in the background. I need focus. That was the noise. I couldn't focus. So, John, did you learn something from that experience? Or I did. Yes, yeah.
Affects your shooting too.
Now, And now you gave my brother-in-law ammunition.
I didn't do that.
Well, my brother in the Army as well, yeah. So, hey, the Navy gave me more in return than I gave the Navy. Captain Besnosta, Lieutenant Commander John Westerman, Reserve Center CO. Officers and sailors from United States Forces Japan, family members, friends, and colleagues. What an honor and privilege to stand in front of you here today and bear witness, as you bear witness, to a sailor's farewell from the United States Navy. Thank you for being here today. I am truly humbled. So I'm going to be mentioning leadership and teamwork in my speech today. And I think it's what it's all about, isn't it? Leadership and teamwork. I have to tell you about some leadership and teamwork that came about when trying to get all this ceremony taken together. Lori and I are working on save the date cards, invitation programs, and I thought I knew everything, right? Being an administrator, pretty skilled. You know, you got 68 commands you're working with, several thousand people. No, I didn't. I did not. I was in deep trouble. It was a blind lead the blind with us. We still have Microsoft Word 2010 for Pete's sake. I mean, I just got rid of a card with a cassette deck. Can you believe that? Only because I ran over a concrete boulder while at Fort Jackson, Captain O'Fallon, who was just behind me 10 minutes later. So anyway, we were in trouble, bottom line. And I was like, oh my God. Well, I went to my office and was kind of talked to my manager, Jim Hinton. I sought out Ryan Maurer, our director of marketing for Cutler. We have 500 agents and 100 employees and 5 graphic designers. And Ryan, I'm in trouble here. I'm planning a retirement here. Me and my wife and I are doing it, and I guess you probably knew that my wife and I working together on something like this is probably not going to work anyway. We've had these conversations over the years. It's called a marriage, right? It's called marriage.
Baby, yeah.
Yes. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Ryan said, Rick, what are you doing? I have it from here. And in steps Jim Hinton. We're happy to help. And Ryan gave me Brittany Martin, a graphic designer, and Brittany, bless her heart, she took everything from there. And Jim made sure that beautiful banner you see out in the front there, especially the one with good hair, that's my graduation photo. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But Jim, you're here today somewhere. Where are you? There you are. I see your head. And gotcha. Well, thank you, Jim, Ryan, and Brittany. I don't know if Brittany's made it today, but wow, they just saved us, literally saved us in this ceremony. So thank you all. Appreciate it. So we found out what leadership and teamwork was all about, didn't we? They all pitched in and helped the sailor that was in dire need here. But let me go back a few steps here. I was hesitant to do this to begin with. Lori had asked me, I think, oh no, I've been doing these for so many years. I know it's involved, and what an eye-opener. And I said, okay, let's go with it. And this is what led us down this path. So I will move on. So again, Jim, Brian, Brittany, thank you so much here. So the past 35 years in the Navy has provided me the opportunity of serving under 7 different commander-in-chiefs. I made a number of different port visits while deployed on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, an aircraft carrier. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of it here. What a life, 6,000 sailors on a floating city, 6,000 sailors on a floating city. Think about that. We were stacked, 3 high in areas, but we were young enlisted sailors at that time. We didn't have of my private estate I would have today. No. We had 6 in a small area, a little coffin rack. You put everything you owned in that thing. Right, Britt? And so that's how we began here. So I have visited a number of different countries, duty locations, that without being in the Navy, quite frankly, I never would have had the opportunity to visit, if you will, the countries. I went through, I witnessed many different cultures, adapted to numerous leadership environments, and was part of several monumental changes in policy. In 1986, when I entered the Navy as a young enlisted sailor, the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise became a hit. That guy out there with the hair, I was hoping to get that lead, right? No, didn't happen. I didn't have Tom's physique, right? And so Tom beat me out, so he was cast for the lead role. You all don't know that story, do you? Yeah. It didn't happen. So Tom got that lead role. So here we are, 36 years later, and I'm retiring, and there's Tom Cruise again. Top Gun Maverick. What are the chances, right? What are the chances? So the older I became, the longer I served, the more leadership schools I completed, and there were many. I came to realize the importance of value and appreciation within the workplace. It was no longer about promotions or recognition. It was more about being appreciated for the work that I do and not about the paper hanging on the wall. It's about the family and the families I had the pleasure of serving with, the families of service members who sacrificed greatly. Without the support of my wife and family, I could not achieve a fraction of the goals I sought out to achieve. So thank you. It's a strong supporting network that makes things possible. I give extraordinary thanks and gratitude to my lovely wife, Lori. Thank you, too. My soulmate. She came aboard as my bride in 2000, willingly, imagine that.
Dean will be graduating pretty soon.
Yes, he will, Mom, pretty soon, almost. She supported dual careers these past 22 years. She's assisted in my career in many different ways and worked her tail off to ensure that I had a great send-off. Honey, you are quite remarkable. I love you, and I thank you for everything that you do. Yes, we're still married after planning this ceremony, as you can see. Daunting task, but worth it in the end, isn't it? It's worth going through the challenges in the end, so thank you, honey. My mother, Beverly Wiley. Hi, Mom.
Hi, son.
I'm glad you're here. I love you.
I love you.
It means the world to me that you're here today. You're a mother of 4 wonderful children. All of us here today. You brought us up to show love, kindness, and respect to all. Sure, we are the typical siblings that may have irritated one another growing up, right, Robin? My older sister, my baby sister.
Ornery brother.
But hey, we were brought up to be respectful to others. It goes a long way today, doesn't it? Mom, you supported my decision to join the service, and here we are today, nearly 36 years later, celebrating my retirement from the Navy. You have always been there for me and all your children. You are quite the inspiration to many, Mom. We love you.
Glad to be here, son.
Good. Dawn, thank you for making this happen. Dawn's the superintendent where my mom
What do
lives.
we do
and
now?
you and the people with you today and your driver, thank you, because I know what it takes. Thank you. You know, if you want something done that requires multitasking at the highest level, you ask a mom. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Mothers, they make it happen. Gentlemen, get out of the way. Let them take over. Dean, my son, you grew up in the Navy with 8 years of your life, the first 8 years of your life, moving several times prior to your dad returning to Ohio in 1994. You have become a great man, son, husband, and father. I'm proud of the person you have become. I'm thankful for you and Helena giving my first grandchild, Oakland Marie, a year and a half ago. And giving me Oakland prior to me becoming eligible for Social Security. We've waited a long time for that. My siblings, Randy, Robin, and Tanya, all here today. Thank you for sharing your brother's special occasion. I wouldn't be here today without your collective support. Randy, I am proud to say we served in the United States Navy together. We were stationed on the same jet base, Cecil Field, Florida, in Jacksonville in 1987, although different squadrons. Not too many people can say that. They served with their brother in the United States Navy on the same naval base. Now, you can stay at your house for a short time. We couldn't afford our own place, so thank you for putting us up. It's kind of you. Robin, you have been a pillar of strength for me. You have shared your love and have given me a proverbial kick in the pants when I needed one. That's been many times. You have shared your love and have given me I'll say it again. You give me the proverbial kick in the pants when I needed it, okay? Thank you, sis. Tanya, my baby sister, how proud I am to be your big brother. We have very special bond as the two youngest siblings, don't we? Randy and Robin think we're mom's chosen kids. I know.
It's true.
I think it's just because we're the youngest too. Steve, you're more like a brother than a brother-in-law to me. You have helped me with many decisions and projects the past 32 years. You hurt my back 32 years ago.
Don't mess with the Army.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought I was stronger than I really was, and I got beat in wrestling, and it hurt for a while. So I learned from that. I've never tried it again. Good leadership, Steve. Thank you. You have also shared many, many Army stories, with me. Sometimes I think you should have been a sailor. We like to share stories. I asked 3 gentlemen to speak today. The first, my best friend and spiritual mentor, Pastor John Whitman, and fellow shipmates Chief Michael Wenzel and Captain Gene O'Fallon on the stage here, who provided me with guidance and humor throughout our Navy time together. It was a piece of cake that brought me to know Chief Wenzel of all things, a piece of cake. I'll elaborate on that. Yeah, you heard that correctly, it was. So 1996, and I was new to the Navy Reserves. After the conclusions of the ceremony one afternoon, I just happened to notice a gentleman with quite a bit of cake on his plate. And it wasn't his first setting. I asked another person at my table, who's the guy with all the cake? This is how we met. Oh, that's Mike Wenzel, he said. He just loves cake. Well, I can see that. I had to meet this guy. That relationship, as Mike mentioned earlier, began in 1996 through CPO initiation in 2000 and CPO Leadership School in Little Creek, Virginia in 2001, and continuing a great relationship for 26 years now. And yes, we did have walkie-talkies to communicate. It didn't work well. We tried it, didn't we, Mike?
You gotta try, that's all you can do.
Mike, I'm blessed to call you my friend. Thank you for being here and speaking on my behalf. Yes, in case you are wondering, he will be the first one in line for that cake.
Anybody gets in front of me, I'm taking it down. Sorry, ladies.
Captain O'Fallon, thank you for traveling across the country to be here today. You're a tremendous leader and mentor, truly an inspiration for all to emulate. I don't know of any officer of the Navy Reserve with the leadership experience you have. 12 command level tours. For those of you sitting here as civilians, that's 12 CEO tours. Think about it. 12 command level tours. Your motto of everything is a training opportunity sticks with me each and every day, regardless of the task I may be doing. It's ingrained within me, and you did that. I had the privilege of serving in the same program as you from 2010 to 2013. I was the administrator, as we talked about early in Surge Main, and you were a regional commanding officer. We crossed paths again in 2019, as you mentioned. Yes, you hired me to be your assistant officer in charge. I'm at McCready Training Center at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, your final tour of duty, on active duty, I shall say. I assumed after watching me fire my M14 rifle and observing me running out of ammo prior to all the targets popping up, because it was Army targets, you decided to call a career. Is that why you retired? Did I put you in retirement? It's the Army system. I couldn't understand the targets popping up I couldn't see them anyway. I put my glasses on. I do have glasses, forget it. They were fogging up, sweat everywhere. It's Fort Jackson, 100 degrees and 60-pound of gear. Think about that. Yeah. I'll just shoot the ones I can see at 20 yards or something. So that was a real story. So I did get that double tap nickname. Thank you, sir. So prior to assuming my assignment at Fort Jackson, Captain O'Fallon required me to attend the basic combat skills training that he talked about earlier that the students attended prior to them going on to overseas missions. He wanted me to evaluate the Army drill instructors and to, more importantly, understand what our students are dealing with so I would be better prepared to handle their needs. So I successfully finished the program with just minor aches and pains like a torn ligament in my arm and a back sprain.
And no complaints.
And no complaints. And no whining. So thank you, Captain O'Fallon. So not bad for 17 days of Army basic combat training for an old guy. So Captain O'Fallon, you taught me how to deal with issues with thoughtful solutions. You impressed upon me to listen more than I talk. Thank you for listening now. You're always cool under pressure, Captain. Ladies and gentlemen, it may be so bold to suggest seeking out a life mentor like Captain Gene O'Fallon. It will help you go a long way in life. Thank you, Captain O'Fallon. We all know the saying, anything worth having is worth fighting for. As a young sailor, I often observed those above me learning from their way of doing things and also observing the different uniforms they wore, symbolizing levels of authority. I aspired to be a chief petty officer as I wanted the additional responsibility to be called a chief and wear that nice uniform they wore. After being selected and initiated as chief petty officer in the year 2000 with Chief Wenzel, I can say that wearing those foul anchors certainly better prepared me for the challenges that lie ahead as a commissioned officer or commanding officer in the United States Navy. I can relate to the enlisted sailors since I was once in their ranks. I really think most people should start at the bottom part of the organizations. You got to learn what people are doing at the deck plate, right? You'll be a better leader that way, I promise you. Many people ask me how I became a commissioned officer from the enlisted ranks. It was through sheer determination, further education, a hell of a lot of perseverance, and a belief that I was ready to take on the challenge. It took me 4 tries. With much learning, growing, and effort between each package submission, I wanted to show the commissioning board that I had what it took to operate as a commissioned officer. Quite honestly, I think they just got tired of seeing my package and moved beyond. Our beloved 40th President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan, defined leadership as the greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He's the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. I love his definition of leadership. I've been using the book. Here it is. You want to talk about leadership? That's how thick it is. Been using this book for quite some time now. It's Leadership Rules of Engagement, 25 Laws to Help Develop the Leadership Within. Even me, with my short attention span, it works. And believe me, my staff, they use this, and we would use it every week, and they took a topic and discussed the topic with me and senior officers present. It doesn't matter what their rank was. It works. That's it. Leadership 101. Not too difficult, is it? My belief is that if you follow the simple laws outlined in this book, you're well on your way to graduating Leadership 101. Here are just a few points in the book. Leadership, as Captain O'Fallon mentioned, is a privilege. People look up to leaders for guidance and answers. Don't abuse leadership. It must be thought through and handled with care. People are relying on you. Your success, number 2, your success is in direct proportion of the success of the people. A leader must have the goal to help others succeed. As this book points out, if the people succeed, the organization succeeds, and if the organization succeeds, who succeeds? The leader succeeds. Number 3, never stop learning. Learning is a lifelong process. Leaders can learn from the people they lead. Take time to actively listen to choose. Take time to actively listen to those you are leading. It's very important that leaders learn from mistakes. Step back, see what didn't work, as Captain O'Fallon would tell me, analyze the situation, take what you learned from the setback and apply it so you don't make the same mistake again. A chaplain friend of mine brought me a book titled The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. How about that? Another tool for leadership in civilian community as well. This is how big that one is. Anybody have read this before? Use it? Love life? Okay. Love languages? Something similar. So the 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. This is a fantastic training aid that runs parallel with Leadership Rules of Engagement. Applying the lessons in the text will certainly make a person who desires to be a better leader succeed. The book teaches how to understand what your employees value the most. Probably want to know that as a CEO and leader. Number 1, it's words of affirmation. Some people like to be praised. Number 2, quality time. Maybe your employee just wants a genuine conversation with their superior. This is one of my favorite things, sitting down and talking to people. That's how you learn about people. Sit down, offer me coffee, let's talk. Yeah. Number 3 is your employee's language, acts of service. Do they like it when others chip in and help out? Number 4, tangible gifts. Some people want a gift. Give them tickets to a ball game or something. That's their motivation, tangible gifts. And finally, number 5, physical touch. Some people just want a pat on the back or a handshake. Not too difficult to do as a leader. I suggest you make it happen to those people in leadership roles here. It will make a difference, I will tell you that. If you understand these 5 love languages, you're well on your way to getting the most out of your employees. Don't wait. Don't wait. Make a difference, as I just said. Be the cheerleader of your workplace and families. Be genuine when cheerleading. Provide the inspiration and motivation for achievement. Late Vince Lombardi, immortal coach of the Green Bay Packers, once said, "Leaders never quit, and quitters never leave." This quote applies to anyone who wishes to succeed. It applies if you want to become a chief petty officer or senior officer in the Navy. If you put your best foot forward each and every day, persevere through challenges, you will achieve great success. You must have the resolve to persevere and to never give up the pursuit of reaching your ultimate goal. People have asked me what I miss most about the Navy. Quite simply, it's the people. It's the people and the camaraderie. There's several retirees here. Aaron, Bruce, about the people, isn't it? I will miss the camaraderie and esprit de corps among the people. It's quite remarkable how we can bring a diverse group of individuals from all walks of life and all backgrounds come together and meet the mission of the Navy. It should be the same way in civilian organizations. So in closing, I'd like to leave you with 3 things here. Ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? My answer, did I make a difference? Am I making a difference? Second, never miss an opportunity to honor a veteran. Call a veteran on the Veterans Day. Call a veteran on Armed Forces Day and thank them for their service. Most of us have no idea what these men and women have gone through, what they've endured for their country. On Memorial Day, pay tribute to a fallen member's family by thanking them for all they've endured as their loved one made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Our gratitude and a show of respect will make a difference. Third, one of my favorites, pay it forward. You want to make a difference, you pay it forward. You see a first responder, law enforcement officer, veteran stand in line to purchase a coffee, step up in front and pick up the tab. You see a veteran eating their meal at a restaurant, you can pay it forward by quietly picking up the tab, being honest about it. It's not about you. Say thank you to a first responder and healthcare professional. There's many in this room right now. Say thank you to a minister, which we have 4 ministers in this room right now. You got Pastor Whitman, Pastor Tony Emcee, Pastor Timothy Bancroft, and yours truly, John Boyce. John's also a lawyer. John's also a human resource guy. He's everything.
Internet church. Just distinguish that.
And I tell you, and I had spoken to all the ministers here, Tony, Tim, John, and both Johns here. It's like, I don't know how you do this each and every Sunday. How do you possibly do this each and every Sunday? So thank you, ministers. You're good people. Their job is not just giving the message on Sunday morning, isn't it, John? It's a lifelong commitment for delivering God's word. Say thank you. Your gratitude will go a long way. There are many other ways you can pay it forward. It doesn't require money. Finally, the Navy gave me direction. It gave me structure, travel, lifelong relationships, an opportunity at a very young age when most people struggle to find their ways to years to come. As you can see, this ceremony took many people from many different backgrounds and experience levels to achieve. It required a lot of communication. It took an amazing amount of effort. It required perseverance and leadership to overcome challenges and teamwork to accomplish the mission. And you probably didn't know this, but Lieutenant Commander, actually you do know this.
Yeah. I jumped the gun on you.
Yeah, you did. You jumped the gun. My speech, that's okay. About John stepping in, we had Commander Timothy Hodges was going to be the master of ceremony, all prep ready to go. They become ill, and John, I give John a call, and John, would you mind stepping in? You know, I've never done anything like this, but oh gosh, you gonna be okay, John? Anyway, I called John 3 days ago because Tim had gotten ill, and John, you stepped up to the challenge and accepted responsibility and you delivered. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for being here today to celebrate my retirement from the United States Navy. I am humbled and honored to have you celebrate the special occasion with me. Rest assured that the men and women who are in uniform stand ready 24/7 to defend freedom and democracy around the world, and you are in good hands. Thank you. Thank you, Commander Wiley.
Old Glory flag detail, post. Old Glory flag detail, forward, march. Detail, halt. Detail, about, face. The flag used in this ceremony was flown above the USS Constitution. I will now read Old Glory. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over great institutions of higher learning. I stand guard with the greatest military power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident. I am arrogant. I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher. My colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped, I am loved, and I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. Gettysburg, Shiloh, Appomattox, San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and a score of places long forgotten. By all those who were there with me, I was there. I led my soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. I followed them and watched over them. They loved me. I was on a small hill in Iwo Jima. I was dirty, battle-worn, and tired, but my soldiers cheered me on. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries that I have helped set free. It does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country, and when it is by those whom I have served in battle with, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bounds of earth, and from my vantage point on the moon, I stand watch over the uncharted new frontiers of space. I have been a silent witness to all of America's finest hours. But my finest hour is when I am torn in strips to be used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the field of battle. When I fly at half-mast to honor my soldiers, my sailors, my airmen, my Marines, and when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving mother at the graveside of her fallen son or daughter. I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave, dear God, long may I wave. Detail. Left, face. Detail, hand, salute. Ready, 2. Detail, right, face. Forward, march. Detail, halt. Detail, post. Master Chief Podlosky will now read the watch.
The watch. I, mates, for 35 years, this sailor has stood the watch. While some of us were in our bunks at night, this sailor stood the watch. While some of us were in school learning our trade, this shipmate stood the watch. Yes, even before some of us were born into this world, this shipmate stood the watch. In those years when the storm clouds of war were seen brewing on the horizon of the history, this shipmate stood the watch. Many times he would cast an eye ashore and see his family standing there, needing his guidance and help, needing that hand to hold during those hard times. But he still stood the watch. He stood the watch for 35 years. He stood the watch so that we, our families, and our fellow countrymen could sleep soundly and safely each and every night, knowing that this sailor stood the watch. Today we are here to say, shipmate, the watch stands relieved by those you have trained, guided, and led. Shipmate, you stand relieved. We have the watch.
Thank you, Master Chief. I will now read Commander Wiley's retirement approval. From Commander Navy Personnel Command to Commander Ricky Glenn Wiley, subject, retirement order and transfer to the authorization to retired reserve status. The Secretary of the Navy has approved and authorized your request to transfer to the retired reserve status effective 1 January 2022. Your dedicated service to the Navy and your country is deeply appreciated. Signed, Kimberly I. Miller, Assistant Commander for Reserve Personnel Management. Captain Besnoska and Commander Wiley, front and center. I will read Commander Wiley's certificate of retirement. From the Armed Forces of the United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that Commander Ricky Glenn Wiley has served faithfully and honorably, was retired from the United States Navy on the first day of July 2022. Signed, John B. Newell, Jr., Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Chief of Navy Personnel. Bosun, post the side boys. Stand by to pipe the side. Shipmate going ashore.
Detail. Attention. Forward. March. Detail. Right, left. Face.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the remainder of the ceremony, as John Whitman will now provide the benediction.
One word. We love Rick and Lori with all of our hearts. But did anybody notice when the Emcee was talking about that Rick was going to spend a lot more time with Lori that this fear crossed her face?
Any further?
I digress. Let me close by reminding you of an old Irish blessing. It says, "May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sunshine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand." Let's bow. Heavenly Father, let your light shine upon Rick and his family. May you be gracious to them. May you show favor to our military and to Rick, giving them peace and faithfulness. Amen.
Amen.
Commander Wiley and Captain Besnoska, front and center. Commander Wiley will now report to Captain Besnoska and request permission to go ashore for the last time.
And before I do that, I want to thank Captain Besnoska for being such a terrific commanding officer. It's been a pleasure serving with you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, request permission to go ashore. Thank you, sir.
Time orderly, sound 4 bells. Commander, United States Navy, retired, departing. It has become customary following a retirement for the spouse to be piped ashore, honoring them for their contribution to their spouse's career. Time orderly, sound 4 bells. Navy family retired, departing. In recognition of 35 years of exceptional Navy service and devoted service, Fair Winds and Following Seas will now be played. Or Fair Winds and Following Seas, Commander Wiley, play Anchors It Away.
Thank you, Emcee. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the retirement ceremony for Commander Wiley. Commander and Mrs. Wiley cordially invite you to enjoy lunch presented by the staff here at the Arrowhead Golf Club. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you.